I'm a historian. I studied university in America, and then when I first got to Israel, that was when I first started discovering Jewish learning, Jewish culture, Jewish religion. And when I got into a Beis Midrash and yeshiva, I was so amazed at how much more engaged and powerful and collective the learning was compared to anything in universities. And even high-level universities, everybody's very atomized. Everybody kind of does their own thing, and they get a big grant to study for 3 years and write a 500-page paper that one person will ever read, and only because they have to read it to grade it. What?
And his mother.
And his mother, if he's lucky. And it became clear to me that the Jewish method of learning is something that goes way, way, way back. That part of what distinguishes us as Jews is this process of engaging with the world in a way that embraces many, many different perspectives. That every different kind of conceivable problem that our ancestors encountered, they would have a machloket about. And a machloket is not an argument. It's not a Greek dialectic. It's not two sides. The way the Greek dialectic works is there's only two sides of any argument, and only one could be right. And you tend to presume that the other side is automatically wrong. You set them up as a straw man. This is the way most media and academia work today. You're probably pretty familiar with it. The Jewish method is different. The Jewish method says there's 5 rabbis, they all disagree, and they're all right. All the contradictions, we have to figure out how they fit together. And that's actually represented graphically in the way that Jewish writing has taken place over the years. We have, over many, many generations, developed ways of showing next to anything anybody says, somebody else's comment on it, and then somebody else's comment on that, and then somebody else's comment on that. On one page, it's like the original hypertext. Everything is linked to something else. Everything relates to something else. Everything is embedded in all of creation. Nothing exists in isolation. It's like we have an anti-reductionist tradition. So, so I began to think of ways that we could create that sort of learning for modern secular subjects and discussions and politics and places where people are having arguments that are failing. Politics, stuff like global warming, where if you say one thing that maybe it's a question about this, well, you must be Dick Cheney. And if you say, well, it's this, well, you're an Earth First eco-terrorist. There's no middle ground. And it's an incredibly stupid and self-defeating way to deal with the important issues of our time. And that's the way most of the world works. I think I'm going out on a limb here and saying that there are a few problems in the way the world deals with major issues. So, so we began to create this container. Initially, we started to create it orally. We started to hold discussions to try to have a discussion that would be multi-sided. And then we tried to figure out how to record it and depict it graphically. So the New Jerusalem Talmud was born, and it's been a few hundred days since we started it, and I've come to a much greater respect for why the original Talmud took a few hundred years. We called it this because, New Jerusalem is kind of like a little bit of New Jerusalem Bible. Like there's something new going on, and it's happening in Jerusalem because Jerusalem's the center of the world, metaphorically speaking. But the Talmud is this idea of a discussion that is a lens into other discussions and other ways of thinking. So when you come to the New Jerusalem Talmud, you log in and register. First you would register because we don't want every random riffraff coming in. This is a sort of a combination between a blog and a Wikipedia type thing. It becomes a source as it goes along. So you go in to explore a discussion. So this is our discussion on climate change, on global warming. It's as if we have a Mishnah here. The different contributors have biographies, and I don't know if you know Yedidia Sinclair. He works for the Jewish Climate Initiative. He's a really amazing guy. The center discussion is as if the Gemara, the main concept, and then each thing outward is kind of like Rashi's, things that you need to know about this discussion. And then going farther outward is more peripheral tangents and stuff like that. And I'm going to give you, if I can get over here on my computer, there we go. Okay, so in our administrator backend, there's ways for you to actually manage all sorts of things about who's on the site, the different security levels. You can link, where's comments? Yeah, there we go. The comments have response to page, response to area. L'hatchila, we're building everything relationally, so that everything is linked to the comment that it was commenting on, and linked to outside sources, so that embedded within it, and ways we're going to actually be able to represent graphically, you're going to be able to pull up a watermarked thing of how every comment relates to every other comment. Well, this one's commenting on this one, is just commenting on this one. So it's kind of, I don't know if you guys have learned Gemara at all, but you're always kind of searching through the Rashi, being like, well, where is it? Where it's up here, it's down here. This way, it's all there. It's all embedded directly in it. So how do we create these pages? We hold a discussion, and when we hold the discussion, we record it and make a transcript of it, and you can actually refer back. Could you imagine if you could actually hear the full discussion of the original Tanaim discussing what was in the Gemara? So the idea of this is that everything is recorded. Each stage of it, you can see essentially the editing process. And once you have become a member, if you're logged in, if you're logged in, you can add your own comments. And each comment that you make will appear one column outward. So essentially, this is the initial kli. This is the initial vessel that we've created, and it has a lot of different uses. It can be filled in a sense however you want. We do have an editing staff. We have fact checkers. It's not like anyone random can. Well, it might be that we're not connected to the internet again.
You have to be registered to post something, right?
Yeah, you have to be registered to post something. So at the moment, it seems like we can't connect to the internet. But yeah, once you're logged in, oh, there we go. Okay. So now you can add your own comment anywhere you want, and you add your comment. It'll get moderated by our staff and be put up in the... Thank you for contributing. So you're all welcome to come check out the site and join. Because we have such a developed backend, we also have the capability of offering this tool as an empty tool, in a sense, to teachers, to educators, to create their own private dafs for their own classrooms, that the teacher can create the Mishnah and all the students can create all the Gemara and all the Rashis, all the content of the discussion. They can edit it themselves. We do have Hebrew. We're working with, we want to make a much more integrated thing in cooperation with a couple other organizations to really integrate it with the other databases out there, which is going to take a bunch more coding and money and all that sort of thing. We also are working on a much slicker graphical thing called the Four Directions blog, which will be a kli, a vessel to be able to offer to the world as simply offering this graphic format to the world that's not necessarily connected to Jewish learning, that doesn't necessarily know what Judaism is. But this is, in a sense, a way to make this Jewish way of thinking and seeing the world and a light unto the nations. That's kind of the mission. So, yeah, thank you. And